Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the SimRacing Expo podcast, episode 5. It's me, Luke Crane, again here. I know you're probably bored of me by this point. I'm also joined by Danny Juicer. Danny, how you doing, mate? You all good?
I'm fine, and Luke, no one is bored of you. You're the face of the show, man.
A big face of the show. Love that. Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it.
And
It's
make
fine.
it even bigger now.
Anything new in the world of sim racing, Danny? Let's get straight into it, shall we? No messing about.
Oh, I mean, DTM Esports is kicking off. VLN is kicking off. And we have some new big signings for the Expo. And we updated the page to show even more information. I think let's start right into DTM Esports, where you're actually the voice of.
Yep, we got DTM Esports again. Tim Yarshall looking to go back-to-back, which I'm trying to think. We've never had a back-to-back champion. I'm not sure we've ever had a two-time champion since it's been rebranded to DTM Esports.
Yeah, I wanted to say, yeah.
And he was the fastest by a mile when it came to the shootout. So, yeah, it's expecting to see Tim do his thing. And I always love the DTM Esports when it gets to the real season because all of the team liveries get added to the game. So it's kind of the grid looks like DTM last season when we get the shootouts, but then in the real championship, all of the team liveries from the esports side of things get added to the game. So that means you can drive as your favorite sim racer in the game and all that good stuff. But yeah, it's 32 of the best drivers on Race Room. Like, there's nothing more you need to know.
Yeah.
It's going to be ridiculous. It's also nice to know there's some new names. Always is some new names in that championship. But yeah, it's going to be 32 cars separated by about 7 to 8 tenths at the most each week in qualifying.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's going to be absolutely ridiculous. To be fair, by the time this episode goes out, it'll be a couple of weeks in to the season, so we'll have a good idea as who's doing really, really well. But yeah, 6 rounds, 2 races each round is going to be mad.
Yeah, it's totally underrated actually in Race Room, to be honest. The competition, I read the article about the kickoff and the qualifying session or season. They had like over 3,000 people that put in laps. It's fucking mental I need to beep out the word. It's mental that so many people signed up and like tried to get a spot. And if you're like one of the 32 drivers under 3,000, I mean, yeah, heads up. That's like proper skillful driving. Yeah.
It's strange, isn't it? Because in my opinion, as someone who's involved in DTM Esports, I've seen it always been very, very close. Like Race Room Esports specifically is always very, very close at the top. It seems like every competition that comes out, it's always like, oh, it's really close competition. And I just think that's just sim racing esports in general now. Like every platform that there's an event on, there is just a massive talent pool. So naturally, the times are going to get closer if people want to succeed. So I just think we're in a pretty good spot on loads of different platforms.
Yeah, totally. I can agree to that. If you see on iRacing, so I'm often helping like people getting into sim racing or getting into iRacing, because people prefer me, or let's say, let's talk to him, and they're always like, yeah, why I'm sucking so much on one or the other car, and I'm like, yeah, look, there are like thousands of people driving only one GT3 or one track or a couple of tracks, and if you're coming up to drive this car next week, a Formula car, now in LMP, go back to GT3, you're always like in a disadvantage to them because they are focusing actually onto one category and getting really good. And if then you have like to put it in iRacing perspective, like a driver with 4,000 iRating, but he's just maining GT3 cars, he's way better than somebody with 6,000 or 7,000 iRating who's jumping all over the categories. That's actually quite crazy in sim racing now.
Yeah, that is pretty mental. You just touched on some new signings. I guess it's like transfer season for the Sim Expo. But yeah, some new announcements of who we can see in October in Dortmund. So I'll let you take it away with those as well.
Yeah, I mean, as you know now, as you're part of our team and we work on daily basis, there's always some announcements that we already know month before. But as you know, as companies releasing products and having marketing strategies and PR strategies, there's always like this kind of, we already signed something for SimRacing Expo, but we can't tell because they are willing to tell because there's a greater strategy in the picture. But now I can say like Fanatec is coming back. I mean, they were for 10 years here, now they're for 11 years here. I'm very happy to see them back, especially with the Corsair backing. I think they're doing a lot of great work. Also, you can see a lot of great things on LinkedIn. Andy Paul, the CEO of Corsair, is actually very vocal about sim racing, which is really cool to see, and I think a good landmark in the industry to see that this kind of really, really big company, which has multiple brands and multiple categories of hardware, is dedicating and being honest about sim racing. And I think we had D-Box for years on the Expo, but it was always some kind of under the radar, I think. And now they come to the Expo with a way bigger booth, with more partners, and I think D-Box is smelling the competition in the motion hardware category, and now they're coming in with full force and showing what their capabilities are, how good D-Box is as a motion provider. I mean, in Germany, we have a lot of cinemas with motion seats, and they're actually all from D-Box. So yeah, that's actually quite great, and we improved a bit on the website. So we are now having also the signs for reserved spaces. So we are not telling who reserved the space, but you can see now the progress of SimRacing Expo growing actually, with this kind of reserved spaces, and then you have the open spaces. Yeah, we're getting a bit more open about all the processes behind SimRacing Expo, and I think that's a really good decision.
Yeah, we're learning right the same as everybody else. Oh, especially me,
Yeah,
Christ. Community manager is something I've never done before. But like, just in general, the whole team are learning. We are all still trying to make the expo bigger and better every single year. So yeah,
exactly.
it's never the finished product. It's always looking to do the best we possibly can, and what we can learn from the prior or the previous year. It's all great. Turn around and go, that was an amazing year. What we did well was good, but it's also you've got to look at the things. What
Yeah,
could we do better? And make it a better experience for people watching at home. And where can all of the information be found out about this, Danny?
it's always on simracingexpo.de. Um, I will say and promise that we will improve the English version. I'm not satisfied with that currently. We are selecting some WordPress plugins to improve that generally in a way bigger scale. So I'm sorry for the mess which we have currently on English, but it will be better, I promise.
Right, well, there you go. There's the updates from SimRacing and indeed Sim Expo very briefly. But today we have got a very special guest. Just a few weeks ago, I guess when this episode comes out, it'll be a couple of months ago, Make a Wish or Race for Wishes happened, which raised about $30,000 during the event
Yes.
and counting. And we had the pleasure of having a call with April Stallings, who is the Charitable Gaming and Creators Community Manager. Last week was it? And it was just instantly like we have to talk about the story of how
Yes, totally.
Make a Wish have entered gaming, and specifically how have Make a Wish entered sim racing, and also talk about the good that they've been doing. But Danny, that race nearly $30,000 in an 8-hour broadcast. That was just absolutely magnificent.
Yeah, I think it's crazy to see how great actually the racing community is when it comes to charity. No matter whether it's Make a Wish or Jimmy's broadcast or a charity, it really shows that the people which are willing to pay a lot for hardware also have like a deep, big heart to spend money for the good thing, and that's really amazing to see. And we were promoting Make a Wish, obviously, as well, because we met April at the Gamescom last year, and it clicked directly. And I'm very happy to see her now on the podcast, and yeah, shedding some light on the work of Make a Wish. So I'm looking forward to the episode.
And well, there you go. Without further ado, then, I would have the absolute pleasure of introducing our guest today. As I've mentioned, the Charitable Gaming and Creators Community Manager, April Stallings. I am delighted to say that I am joined by April herself. April, how are you doing?
I'm really good. Thanks for having me on today. I'm so excited to do this.
Oh, no problem. I'm super excited to hear about all of the amazing things that you're doing within gaming, obviously, and specifically sim racing. But I'm sure many people out there have maybe not come across, or I'm sure they've come across Make a Wish, maybe not come across
Yeah.
you as a person. What are Make a Wish doing, and what are you doing in particular?
Of course, yeah. I mean, just for some context, Make-A-Wish is one of the world's most recognized, charities. We've been around for 45 years this year. And what we do is we grant wishes to children who have been diagnosed with critical illnesses. So these are kids whose, childhood has been upended by diagnosis of diseases like cancer, or they're born with genetic illnesses, heart conditions. Like, it can be any myriad of things. A lot of our kids go on to go through medical treatment, go through full recovery, but wishes bring them a moment of hope and joy, and kind of returns that childhood back to them that's been taken away so abruptly. And yeah, we've done 615,000 wishes over the past 45 years. And I'm with Make a Wish International, which is sort of the global arm of things. And we are currently granting wishes in over 50 countries.
That's unbelievable. Yeah, some
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of the work that Make a Wish have done. So first of all, I want to say thank you. But some of the stories are just super, super inspiring. How did you get involved in the organization?
Well, I've been with Make a Wish in one way or another for the past 8 years. My whole career has been in nonprofit work, so I feel super fortunate that I'm a very purpose driven person. And so I feel super fortunate that I was able to turn that into a career. I run Make a Wish's charitable gaming program. So that basically means working with content creators to do charity live streams, working with gaming companies, developers, publishers, um, to figure out how to raise money through their games, through their communities, all that sort of stuff. So I feel extremely fortunate to be doing that. And part of that is working with very niche communities in the gaming space, like sim racing. So yeah, that's kind of how I got here, where we are right now.
Yeah, there's nothing more niche than the sim racing community,
Yeah.
that's for sure. I guess the best
Yeah.
place the best place for us to start is just recently. This episode will come out in a few weeks from when we're recording, so it'll be a couple of
Okay.
months ago by the time people are listening to this. But you did have
Yeah, that's
a
true.
Race for Wishes race, I believe was what it was called. And you raised it was $30,000 during the race. I'm sure it's well over that now. You can probably shed some more light on
Yeah.
that. Please, please, talk us through the event and celebrate the amazing, amazing money raised.
Yeah, absolutely. So our event is called Drive for Wishes, and it is on the iRacing platform. That's where everything takes place. This was year 2 for us. So the first year we had, it was really about kind of like figuring out the space, figuring out the community, sort of getting to know everybody. This year was great. It did so. First year we raised about $20,000, and then this year we raised grand total $33,000, which
Wow.
was very exciting. It was huge. We had 50 teams, so we kept it to one split this year, which was great. They did amazing. We embraced the chaos of a charity event this year. Really tried to keep it non-competitive. There were a lot of incentives that people could donate to really mess with the other guys who were racing, and it went really well. I thought. Definitely learned a little bit about maybe too much chaos, so we might scale that back a little bit. But we had a lot of really interesting classes in the race. So, we had like Miatas on the track with like the supercars, and it made for some pretty entertaining moments out there.
I, for one, don't dial it down. Please do not dial it
Yeah,
down. The drivers, honestly, is
embrace the chaos. I
you.
like it.
You'll get a one or two that complain about it, but they just don't get it. Just do not dial it down. You're raising money for charity.
Ah,
Everybody
yeah.
understands that. Well, 99% of the people in that race will understand that. You may get the one or two that kind of there to win the race, or that's the be all and end all for them. But seriously, it's all about raising as much money as possible.
Exactly. Yeah. It was an interesting blend. Like, we had, the kind of content creators, like the guys who were doing live streams and raising money as the race went on. And then we had a nice mix of like people who just wanted to be there. So they raised money the old fashioned way by asking their friends, their families, their coworkers to kick in before the race ever started. So it was a really good blend, I thought, of like, pretty representative of the community as a whole.
So, what games have you been involved with prior to sim racing? Because obviously, as you've mentioned, sim racing is an
Right.
extremely big is the word. It's like the worst way of describing it. It's small niche compared
It
to
is.
other games that if you search the topic gaming, it would be Call
Yeah.
of Duty, CS:GO. It'd be those kind of titles.
Yeah, no, for sure. From all right, so I'm gonna tell you personally, like so when I was a kid, a long, long, long time ago, my dad owned a coin operated video game arcade, right? So like we're
Right.
talking like when it was a brand new concept, and like at night he would do the books and he would lock the doors and he would turn all the machines on to free play for us, or he would show us how to do it. And my first experience with sim racing was the OG pole position cabinet. I don't know if anybody remembers that experience, but
I'm
that was
showing my
my first.
age. I do for sure. I just barely.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, it's definitely the way to date yourself is like, what was your first console? Yeah, so that was my first racing game for sure. Absolutely. The OG stand up pole position cabinet. But yeah, like from a Make-A-Wish perspective, we've interacted with the games industry for a while now, but now we're really starting to kind of like be more intentional about it because, and there is a reason for that, is during the pandemic and ever since then, um, gaming wishes have been uh, very, very important around the world, right? So gaming has become a lifeline for our kids, honestly. Like they spend a lot of downtime in hospitals and in medical treatment rooms, where boredom is a very real thing. So it's all these like long stretches of boredom punctuated by, fear, anxiety, pain, during treatment and things like that. So gaming really does help them escape, entertains them. But more importantly than that, with a lot of the online, kind of interconnectedness of games now, it keeps them connected to their friends and family. It keeps them connected to the outside world. A medical condition by its nature can be very isolating, especially if if a child's going through something like leukemia or another cancer that requires chemotherapy. They're not allowed to be around a lot of people. So it really ratcheted up during the pandemic, but now it's pretty consistent that gaming is growing, gaming wishes are growing. And in that too is a subset that are sim racing wishes. We've had some great ones happen. Our team in Portugal just granted a wish for a kid over there who wanted his own sim set up in his house. And Rad Weasel, I don't know if you know Rad Weasel, he went
Oh
by
yes.
and met him. Yeah, he went by and met him and showed him how to use the equipment, and it was a really positive experience. So yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, Brad Weasel. He was at the Expo last year, actually. He's a good
Yeah,
guy, a very good content creator
yeah,
as well. Like
yeah,
he's just one of those guys where you watch him, you're like, just you're a good guy. You can just tell
yeah, yeah,
you're just a really good
absolutely.
guy. Apart from on the
Yeah.
racetrack, he will, he'll probably dive up the inside, no problem.
I mean, it is what it is, right? Like you gotta show up.
So that was a specific wish that you just touched upon. But
Yeah.
are there any in the 8 years you've worked that really stick out for you? Like
Ooh.
I'm sure there's many.
There are. It's one. Yeah, I'll tell you. I mean, yeah, it's a little it's inspiring. But it is something that still sticks with me because it's one of those. Yeah, it's just one that sticks with you. So I used to be with Make a Wish Canada, which is where I live at. And we had a young man who was older. So wishes can be granted to kids who are ages 3 to 18, and this young man was so special. His name was Jaden. King J was his nickname. He was a basketball player. And King J wanted to design his own basketball shoes. He was diagnosed with a pretty rare form of cancer, and the prognosis was not great. He was older, so he was 18. And he wanted to design his own basketball shoe. And so what we did was we found a cobbler down in the States who we got Jay to share his like 5 or 6 favorite pairs of shoes with us, and we sent it to this cobbler, and he put together one unique pair of shoes that incorporated the design elements of like all of these. Total sneakerhead, basketball player. Shoes are obviously a big part of the culture. So he put it together, and he made one very unique pair of shoes for him. And Jay was in the children's hospital, and time was not on our side, and we had the cobbler fly them up. Like he traveled with them because our fear was that it would get caught up in customs. He flew into Canada with them. We grabbed him, drove up, the 3-hour drive up to the children's hospital where he was. And he put the shoes on, and he got out of bed for the first time in a while, and he walked all around the children's ward showing the other kids his shoes, showing the nurses, walking with assistance, but still, it was huge. And I think his dad later told me that like one of the really special things was that when you're 18 and you're in the hospital, your friends don't really know what to talk about. They don't know how to act. But these shoes, right? Like they had something to like talk about and discuss and really come around and help him design them. And it was something that like kept his friends engaged instead of pulling back from like the trauma of what he was going through. And that one, yeah, that one will always stay with me for sure. Like, many of our wish kids go on to lead long, healthy lives after treatment. They don't all end that way, unfortunately. But my gosh, the memories that this kiddo got to make with his friends and his family because of his wish, like that's so it's such a beautiful thing, and it still sticks with me, and I'm tearing up a little. But his family went on to do so many wonderful things in his name. They still fundraise for wishes. They fundraise for cancer charities. Like they're just amazing people.
And that's something that you do get from these very sad stories, is that some the legacies live on,
Yeah.
right? Like you get some really cool, like you just said there, the family are continuing to raise money for these wishes,
Yeah.
and I'm sure there's many other stories
Yeah.
like
They're
that where
amazing.
they
Mhm.
they want to have the name live on and mean something maybe bigger, and to help other people, which is yeah, really, really
Yeah.
inspiring.
I mean, and the other side of the coin is that, for a lot of these kids who, yes, their illness is scary, their prognosis is positive, their outlook is positive, the outcomes are positive. It's still so traumatic what they go through, right? Like it's
Oh.
still a trauma. And we just wrapped up a year-long research project, with using wish families, medical providers around the world. Like I said, we're in 50 countries, right? So, part of what we do is to make sure every child has the same experience with their wish, right? No matter what country they live in. And the data that we got back from it was so inspiring because everything was in the high 90s for the most part. 90% of families say they wish that they think every child should have a wish when they're sick, things like that, because um the mental health aspects of a wish, not to mention the physical aspects of it, but really the wellness that a wish brings to a child during this super low point in their life is so important. It's so um yeah, it's just kind of like it's such a big deal for them and their family.
But you mentioned, these children, they're away from their friends, they can't spend time around a lot of people,
Yeah.
they only have their family. It must feel like again, I don't want to put myself, I can't think for
Yeah.
one of these children. I don't want to do anyone a disservice here at all, but to have something to look forward to, but then also to hold on to
Yeah.
after an event like that's happened,
Yeah.
is again credit to the whole organization, because that's amazing. It simply is just
True.
amazing. There's not
Yeah.
many words I can say other than
True.
that.
It is true. And I have to say, like, what I really love about the job is that it's magic. I mean, like you can call it whatever you want, but to me it's magic what we do. And it's so fascinating to watch how kids think, and their wishes and what they want. And there's kind of like buckets that we can put wishes in, but every now and then there's like this incredible outlier where it's just a kid doing their own thing, wishing their own wish, like they want a pair of shoes, things like that. And those are always so much fun to me. Like I super enjoy those because it really like lets you get a glimpse behind the curtain of like what their cool little minds are going at.
It's like a movie, right? It's out of this world.
Yeah,
You,
exactly. Yeah,
you
good
know,
stuff.
these kids are going through hell. Like this is quite literally the worst thing. It, as a father, I have 3 children.
Yeah.
I'm trying
Oh,
to
okay.
protect.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to protect my children from going down the wrong paths, making the wrong decisions. But these illnesses, there's nothing you can do to protect children from
Out
this.
of
Like,
control.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's completely out of control. But
It's random. It's random chance. Yeah.
to know that there are people out there that care enough, and to there was one person to start off with, right? And to have the
Yeah.
organization the size it is now, the fact that there are people that are out there willing to put the work in to make, even if it's just one day, a smile on their
Yeah.
face.
I mean,
It's I'm really struggling because being a father,
yeah.
I just
No, I
I
trust me, I get it. Yeah.
couldn't help. I don't know if I'd be capable of facing this, but to know that there are
Yeah.
people out there that are doing this for people is amazing. It really is.
I've always found it so interesting because like the kids can talk about what they're going through most of the time all day long, right? They're so pragmatic about it. They're usually so accepting about it. But when I hear the parents start to talk, like that's where my empathy, like that's whenever I see myself in the situation, because knock on wood, my son's pretty grown now, and we managed to to avoid something like, and not that you can avoid it, but we made it through without something like this happening so far. So yeah, I mean, like I can really put myself in the shoes of the parents, and that's when I really struggle when I hear them talking and talking about their stories. But also, man, to hear them talk about the wishes though, it's so inspiring. Like they're so excited to see their kid come back, like come back to who they were or who they are, outside of the illness. It's really exciting to see that too. I'd like to hear them talk about it. It's cool.
Well, naturally, like your body makes you, if when you're living your dream, it makes you be the
Yeah.
best version of yourself, right?
Yeah.
At all
All
costs.
the good
Yeah,
chemicals. Yeah,
could
exactly. Yeah.
they're going to be completely knackered after for a couple of days afterwards, but for that one day, like they are the superhero. And
Yeah.
for the people making these wishes, the likes, the big names like John Cena, we were talking about Max Verstappen earlier on. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
actually the child that's the superhero in all of
Oh
this.
yeah.
God,
They drive
that's
everything. Absolutely.
it's
They are in the
making me
driver's
look.
seat from start to finish. They get to pick the wish. There's
Mm.
really no influence. Like part of our process is making sure that no one's influencing the wish, making the wish for something that they don't actually want. So yeah, it's been really cool because like gaming has really grown, but also motorsports, right? Talking about the intersection of where sim racing comes in, like gaming's a huge category of wishes. Travel's still number one, absolutely. But motorsports is really kind of like coming into its own with us too. And I think that's kind of like culturally, motorsports has just really been elevated in sort of like the global consciousness lately. But like, we've got kids in the paddocks at almost every Grand Prix race. Kids who are wanting to take a lap in a supercar, get to experience what it's like at a production facility. Like, I mean, it's cool. Like, it's cool the way kids think, and sim racing really is presenting like that really cool crossover between gaming and motorsports, and it's nice to see it coming together to grant wishes.
Yeah, 100%. It's amazing to see all of like I race on a platform called iRacing, which actually you
Yeah.
use for your event, and you
Yeah.
can. We actually had this is crazy. We had some Australian lad. I was racing in a session with Max and Chris, who races for Team Redline, which is all messing about in an
Oh,
oval
nice.
race,
Yeah.
right? Which is not what
Mhm.
Max does normally. And so there was this guy called Kane, and he was going over the voice comms, and it was like 20 minutes where we were just listening to like his story of trying to figure out whether it was the real Max. Like, no, he was talking himself out of it.
Oh,
And he spent 20 minutes just trying to figure out, and we were all just listening, just in tears with laughter. It was
he was
so
going through it, huh?
yeah, so we get to see this quite regularly in sim racing now, the crossover between motorsport and sim
Yeah.
racing, where you could end up racing with Dale, Earnhardt Jr., which is, he's one of the best NASCAR drivers of all time, right? He's
Yes.
massive.
Yeah.
He,
Yeah. Yeah.
works alongside iRacing as well. But that, Kimi
Mhm.
Antonelli racing on iRacing, who's the latest
Nice.
newbie to Formula One. Gabby Bortoletto, all these new drivers coming in.
Yeah.
Lando Norris has a big history on iRacing as well. But at any given time, you could end up in the lobby with one of these drivers in a practice session or
Yeah.
even in a real race. So
Wild.
the crossover is as you said, incredible. What were your so obviously you have a little bit of a background with sim racing, I guess, with the arcade back in the day. But how
Yeah.
did you perceive sim racing before you got involved? Did you have any predeterminations about what it was like, or?
I mean, I knew that sim racing could be a little spicy. I knew that
Oh
the
yeah.
community, like we had a few standalone events where people fundraised for us. And I saw that and I was like, you know what? This is really something that we can build out ourselves too, right? Like this is something that we can really grow and develop over the course of a few years. And, kind of make it one of the premier charity events in the space. Like that is flat out my goal is to have this become one of the premier charity, events where people are, waiting, frothing at the mouth to sign up every year. That's where I want to see this go. So I knew that some racing could be spicy, little competitive. I know that there's some, instances where, there can be toxicity in the community. But, knowing what I know about gamers, I think that applies to any gaming. And I know I use that term loosely with sim racing because I do understand that it's a bit more structured and a
No,
little
we're all
bit.
gamers.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a little more like of a formal. I knew it was a very niche community, so just getting to know the guys though, and I would love to see some more ladies in there. I think would be my only like, come on, ladies, let's sign up too, because I know you're out there. Um, but yeah, I really have enjoyed getting to know the drivers, the communities. The humor is off the charts. Like the the grief that they give each other is one of my favorite things, like, to be
The
honest.
voice comms in a race in
Um,
iRacing is incredible.
yeah,
It's unbelievable.
it's
It's on no other game.
it's
Like there's no other
it's
sim
my
racing
favorite.
title out there like it. It's ace.
Yeah, it's my favorite. I'm like, it's like I don't know, it's like being backstage at a concert or something. It's very funny. Um, yeah, so like I knew that these were people who were passionate. I knew that these were people who obviously spend a lot of money on their hobby. Although, I've seen some pretty impressive rigs set up with the bare minimum kind of stuff. And I knew that these were people who, likely would have children in their lives or, have been exposed to children who got a wish or something like that. So yeah, it's been really what I've really loved about it though is the global aspect of it because like I said, like I'm with the international side of things and it's almost universal. Like I think we've had so many countries participate at this point and that's been very exciting too.
Yeah, no, especially on iRacing,
Yeah.
you sign up for a race and you could be racing against absolutely anybody from anywhere in the world.
Exactly.
It
Yeah, as
is
long as they're online. Yeah.
the online has made things so accessible. I remember
Yep.
I'm a certain age, so I remember a time before online was a thing, right?
I do too.
We're the first
I'm gonna
generation where
get
we remember the world without mobile phones and with mobile phones,
I
I guess. So it's crazy.
I'm gonna make a confession. I hate online gaming. I still cannot get behind it because I that's not how I grew up. And I love couch co-op. Like if you're in the same room with me and we're going head to head, like awesome. That's perfect. But man, online gaming is such a struggle for me. Like my attention span just can't handle it.
I'm the opposite. So I grew up obviously with
Yeah.
campaign, but now it's just online. I can't. I have to compete against another person.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay, yeah, yeah. I just
it's
I just wanna hop on my horse in Red Dead Redemption and just ride around, like that's my gaming style.
no, and that's the beauty of gaming, right? You can
Yeah,
do whatever the hell you want. It's as simple as that. Online is actually
exactly.
only really just giving us another option. It's not like it's replaced anything. It's just giving us another option.
Exactly. And like I said, it's a lifeline for our kiddos. Like absolutely that lifeline aspect of gaming is what keeps them talking to their friends every day. It's huge.
100%. Well, what about
Yeah.
the future between sim racing and make? We've
Oh,
obviously got the expo coming up in October. I believe you're going to be there and
yeah.
get to see all of us nerds congregate in one place, which is a sight to behold. That's for sure. Many beers shared.
Exciting. Yeah.
But
Yep.
but
I,
how
I
do you
I
see the
did not
future?
make yeah. So I mean, honestly, growth. I think this event has so much potential. And I think, now that we've had a couple of years under our belt, I think it's something that um, the future is limitless for it, to be honest. Obviously, we'd like to attract more, names to the event to participate, put in teams. So if you're listening and you want to reach out to me about that, absolutely. My contact information will be on the podcast. Yeah, I mean, growth is really what it's about because, despite how well everything does, there's always room to grow and to grant more wishes, and there's always a need, there's always a demand for more wishes, right? So we have teams all over the world working hard to raise enough money to do this, but we need the public support. We need events like this. We need the community to rally around it and join us next year. It'll be in February next year. We're just waiting on some big events in the sim racing world to get scheduled before we commit to a date. But yeah, it would be nice to see some folks show up and become part of it and grow.
No, 100%. I'll be looking to try and get myself in a car. If any
And I
team
am
will have me,
excited
I
about
doubt
the
it.
expo. I am excited about the expo in October. I have never been to a sim racing or a sim focused expo before, so this is going to be very cool.
It is. It's hard to explain it. It really is. But it is. Like we this will be the 11th year this year. Actually, we did celebrate our 10th year
Wow.
last year, and it's gone from being hosted at the Nordschleife at the Nürburgring, It's
Oh,
only
okay.
a
Yep.
very small venue where they sort of have 5, 6 exhibitors. Then it was in Nuremberg about 3, 4 years ago, and now it's in Dortmund in the
Okay.
Messe Hall, which now it's just huge. So we not last year, the year before, it was only 3/4 full of the main hall. But it was just a necessity to move somewhere that size because we'd outgrown
Yeah.
already after 1 year in Nuremberg. And then last year we'd filled the hall. It was crazy to see all the space that was empty the year before. Just like our stage was basically right at the back of the room, opposed to being near the middle. It was just
So you could see it all.
oh, it's just crazy how big it's growing, and like the stories as
Yeah.
well of the people that are there. Some of the exhibitors, like they've never heard of the expo before last year, and it was their first year exhibiting. And they, you
Yeah.
see them having beers on a Saturday night with meeting other brands, like big brands such as like Logitech having a beer with a group called BDH who make a shifter, and they can discuss
Oh, cool.
ideas, right?
Yeah.
Is there
I
anything
mean,
we
I
can?
will say, like, the coolest part is definitely the gear. Like,
Yeah.
I love seeing setups. I love seeing people's rigs. Like, the gear is amazing. So I'm excited about that side of it too.
Oh, there are so many sim rigs that you have to try. Like there's so many
Yeah.
different. Like you mentioned, you just touched on it a little bit earlier, where you're saying you like the idea of this. That some people have like really expensive, like think money. Well, money can buy it, obviously, but it's almost uh, only limited by your imagination. There's rigs there
Yeah.
that you can only get by buying a Lamborghini, right? That's the only way you can get it,
Oh, wow.
or
Okay, well,
or buying a
I'll put
Pagani,
that on my shopping
yeah,
list. Yeah.
just as an example. And then there are rigs that are $100, that are fold away, put it in
Yes.
your corner, and then you get back, whenever you get back on, you take it out of the corner of the room, fold it back up. Like it's
Yeah. Accessible.
ridiculous. Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
One side is accessible, the other side, not so much. But
Yeah. I mean, it's a whole spectrum. Absolutely. Yeah. I met Danny um, at Gamescom last year in Cologne, and that's kind of where this whole conversation started, where we got connected with you all. And I just want to give a big shout out to the SimRacing Expo team, like, really helping us raise awareness, being such a great partner, offering us the chance to do this, but also to be at the expo in October. I'm excited about all of it. Like, I do think the SimRacing community is such a good, solid core group of people that I really think they're going to play a huge role in granting wishes in the years to come.
uh, and likewise, right? Make a wish. If there's anything we can do to help spread the word, or help enhance what's already happening,
Yeah,
to make even one person's day a little bit better, then it's absolutely worth it, right? It really is as simple as that.
for
Well,
sure. Yeah, no, stay tuned. Whenever registration opens, we'll let you guys know, and hopefully you'll let everybody
oh,
know.
we'll also post about it. Don't you worry about that.
Yeah, yeah.
We've got to talk about the elephant in the room, the bad guy
Oh.
in the room. Obviously, the most wishes made by an individual ever, Mr. Now We Can See You, John Cena.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
he's a
yeah,
bad guy now. Like, what's going on?
yeah.
Unbelievable.
I do not speak for Team Cena, just so you know, but yeah, I was just we've been getting we've been getting tagged in a lot of memes around the heel turn that's happened. And first, I want to say, like, John Cena by far and away has granted more celebrity wishes than anyone. Like, there's no one close to him. Like, he is outpaced everybody. Does an amazing job. We did a video a few years ago. I'll send you the link to it, Luke. You can link to it if you want to. But we did a video a few years ago, and there's just this nice voice talking about wishes and how great wishes are. And it's John Cena. Like, he did the voiceover on one of our like videos, right? Like, he's such a big heart. And I know the heel turn has taken some people off guard by, because it's been, gosh, I think he's been the good guy for at least 20 years now,
Yeah.
right? So it's been, yeah, I don't think it's changed any wishes or anything like that. I think kids still love him. I think some of them are maybe a little shocked by the turn, but I think it makes for great entertainment. So yeah, I'm excited to see where the storyline goes to.
Yeah, 100%. If anything, I think it's just going to bring more attention to the great
Yeah.
cause that he has been doing, and I'm sure it's not going to stop.
I mean, he's done such amazing work for us. Like, there's no way you could ever repay the kind of like that. I mean, hundreds of wishes. that he's granted. It's huge.
There is a way we can repay him. We can go to an event and boo him at the moment. Just at the moment.
I'm pretty sure my employment contract forbids me from booing John Cena. I could be wrong though. I feel
Well,
like it's got to be a clause that we write into all of it.
as a bad guy, he's probably now inserted that clause, right?
But what a great storyline though, huh? Like the ultimate good guy turns heel. Oh, so
It,
good. Such good entertainment.
it's crazy. I've not followed the wrestling for many years because
You
just
get busy.
life. And my 9-year-old's
Yeah.
just got into it, and he only knows a bad John Cena. Like the
No!
only thing, he doesn't have any idea that this guy was Superman.
See?
That's crazy to me that my kid's just like, oh,
The
this guy's
legacy.
awful.
Like legacy switch just like that, man, right? Yeah. 20 years as a good guy, you do a couple matches as a heel and suddenly nobody remembers your good stuff, right?
No, absolutely. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
No, it's been fun to watch though, and shout out to the whole WWE world. Like they really do help grant a lot of wishes overall. Kids who want to go to WrestleMania, kids who want to meet certain personalities, like they do a good job with us.
No, 100%. Again, all jokes aside, John Cena is an absolute legend.
Yeah.
But we can see
Yeah.
you, John Cena. We can see you.
Yep.
April, it's been an absolute pleasure to spend some time with you.
Same. This is so fun.
Let's do it again. Once you've
Yeah.
been to the expo and you've seen everything, it would be great to have you come on and have a chat about what's happened this year, and also what you saw from the expo, what you maybe expected, and what was different. But again, thank you so much to you and your team, to everybody at Make-A-Wish for what they do, because it's a better world having you guys around.
I will pass that on to everybody. Absolutely. Very exciting. I can't wait for this to come out. I can't wait to see how people get engaged with us. So thanks for the opportunity.
No problem at all. And please, guys, leave in the comments who you would like to see next time, whether you'll be watching on YouTube, on Spotify. You can also, there'll probably be a poll below, but also all the links that you need to go visit will also be below the videos and indeed the podcast, wherever you are watching. So yeah, there's episode 5, ladies and gentlemen. We will catch you all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.